Oh baby, been waiting to do this one. Today we have a high-age, mid-proof, quadruple bass episode with some great bottles chosen by you guys. Really, it's to find out how good this Michter's 10 for 2023 actually is, and maybe see if the Remus Gatsby is better than I thought, or will the Knob Creek 18 actually just beat everybody, or is the Elijah Craig 18 better than I thought it was? I don't know. Let's find out. It's a quadruple bass, the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C. for the Mash and Drum. Welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, do all the things you need to do to help grow the channel. Really appreciate it. Welcome to today's quadruple bass episode. As you can see, we have 4 high-aged, pretty high-priced bourbons. We're going to be putting head-to-head to see which one reigns supreme. Again, if you have any suggestions for some head-to-head matchups like this one, leave them below in the comments. Let's learn a little bit more about today's matchup. First bottle up we have is the Knob Creek 18, which was last year's limited edition release and the oldest Knob Creek release to date. Mash bill of 77% corn, 13% rye, 10% malted barley, 100 proof, and price at 170 bucks. Next up is the Remus Gatsby Reserve, a high-end version of the distillery's core Remus Bourbon and Remus Repeal Reserve brands from MGP or Ross and Squibb, whatever you want to call it. This is a 15-year-old bourbon bottled at cask strength of 97.8 proof and priced about 200 bucks. Michter's 10-year made its return this year, and it's said to have much older than 10-year-old bourbon in the bottle. Is it 12 years old? Is it 14? Is it 15? Who knows? This was the first Michter's 10-year single barrel that I absolutely loved. It's priced though at 185 bucks and bottled at only 94.4 proof. Lastly, we have the OG, the Elijah Craig 18-year single barrel from Heaven Hill, the popular annual release with a mash bill of 78 corn, 12% malted barley, 10% rye, bottled at 90 proof, 18 years old, and priced usually these days around 160 to 170 bucks. All right, guys, really excited to get this quadruple bass going. I really wanted to put the Michter's 10-year to the test to see if it's as good as I think it is. Again, it's 185 bucks, and I was asking some viewers, you know, what would be some great bottles to put against it. These 3 were kind of the most unanimously decided on, so thank you guys for that. So if you guys have never watched one of these before, basically what I do is I grade each one on nose, palate, and finish to see which one comes out on top. Now what happens sometimes is the nose I will like on one glass, but the palate on the other. Usually if the palate wins out, the finish will win out, but we'll see what happens. We have 4 completely different whiskeys from 4 different distillers, so it should be interesting. All right, I'm gonna leave it right here and let's dive into it. Here we go. Now, one thing I'm planning on picking up in this blind is a decent amount of oak here, some age, but maybe not. We'll see what happens. This one so far, a lot of oak, a lot of cherry. Man, a little hint of toffee there. Man, that nose is incredible right there. I'm digging this one so far, but man, I would assume these are all gonna be pretty different. The first nose is phenomenal. I mean, it's as great as an aged bourbon as you're gonna get. Second one. The second one is more of a medicinal cherry. So sometimes you get that cherry note, but then it comes in a little bit more medicinal, you know, with a higher age. You know, I get that a lot in like wild turkey, like some of the older wild turkeys, but there's no wild turkey in here, so I'm not really sure where this one's coming from. A little bit more chocolate here, maybe like a gingerbread. Interesting. Third one. Oh, third one might be the sweetest. Third one, this is all vanilla, caramel, deep, rich notes here. Man, creme brulee for days. Definitely some spice here too. Oh, this is gonna be tough. And last one here. The last one's coming off a little tame, which is interesting. Now all 4 of these bottles have been open. You know, I've reviewed them before, so it's not like, I don't know. The nose here is kind of similar to what we got with the third nose, but it's just a little bit more muted. I'm not getting a lot from here. I mean, it's just classic bourbon notes, nothing crazy. A little bit of oak, obviously, because they all are high aged, but there's nothing really standing out to me about that nose. So between the 4, that one's delicious. This one has a little bit of everything. This one's a little bit more on the medicinal side, and the third one is a little bit more classic. So if I had to pick one, I'm probably gonna go with Glass A for the nose. This one has a little bit of everything. This one has the cherry. It's not medicinal like number 2 is. This one also has kind of like this butterscotchy, toffee, cherry, all mixture. Kind of like if you blended both of these together. And again, as I always say, remember to stick around at the end of the video because I will blend all 4 of these to see how it tastes. Everyone likes to see the blend at the end. So, all right, let's taste them. So far we got Glass A with the wind on the nose. Let's see how it is on palate. Ooh. I do think that the palate matches the nose here. This has a lot of spice too. What the hell? Well, this is like the first pour of the day, so. This one's both light but flavorful. Doesn't have a huge amount of like punch. Again, all these are pretty, the highest proof in this one is the Knob Creek at 100. So none of these I think are gonna blow you away. What I'm really looking for is like those nuanced flavors in between these high aged bourbons to see which one I like more, at least blind. So. This one is just very well balanced, has some really nice flavors to it. Again, it's kind of matching the nose. You got cherry, I got a lot of oak, I got some creme brulee in there, a little toffee, nice little spicy finish on the end. Yeah, it's hard not to get away from the finish because I think it's actually more exciting than the palate right now. But the finish is pretty good. It matches the matches the nose. So I love doing blinds. Guys, I can't stress enough for you to do blind tastings. It's the true way you're gonna find out exactly what you like. You think like Colonel Taylor single barrel is your favorite of all time? Throw it in a blind against like Four Roses single barrel, Russell's Reserve single barrel. See what happens. I'm just saying. Hey, if you know, hard to find allocated bourbons come out on top, then so be it. But you know, don't just assume that it's always gonna be the case. Blind tastings are the best way to find out the true answer. You know, I really like the nose on number 2. It is medicinal. It is coming across a little bit cough syrupy. So, ooh, okay. This one kind of took me on a little bit of a ride. It does start off medicinal a bit. Man, it hits mid-palate and it gets real sweet. A lot of like vanilla extract for day, like vanilla ice cream almost. Some sweetness, some sugar, a little confectionery right at the mid-palate. Damn. But that sip, as good as the flavors are, it's coming off very flat. There's not a lot going on. Is it a good sipper? Most likely. But coming off the first one, it's not doing it for me. It's okay. It's okay. I don't think it's gonna take over letter A so far in the palate. So let's go to letter C and see what we get. Now letter C was pretty classic and I was pretty excited for this one. So let's try it on the palate. All right, letter C has some good flavors here. Letter C has, again, those classic notes that you would expect in a good bourbon. The vanillas, the caramels. You got a good amount of oak here, good spice, not overly oaky. Sometimes you get into these higher ages and the oak takes over. That is not happening here. This is a nice pour. Like in my head, I'm like trying to negotiate what they could be. I actually really don't know at this point. Again, there isn't like a ton going on. It's just like a really good balanced bourbon. Especially at, you know, whatever age this could be, but man, this one so far is a head scratcher. All right, last one. I wasn't getting much on the nose, but will the palate kind of defy that law here? So let's see here. Oh, did not expect that. That's really good on the palate. Again, it totally, like the nose. The nose is starting to come alive a little bit here, but the palate is way more exciting than the nose was. Oh yeah, the palate's got spice. It's got depth. Man, tons of vanilla. Maybe like a little bit of like a pipe tobacco. There's some cool stuff going on in that last glass. I really love the spice of it. There's a really nice spiciness to it, which is really good. It's kind of keeping my palate kind of engaged here. You know what? It's probably the least sweet out of the four. I think there's probably the most prevalent oak in that one, at least when you compare. But the flavors it has up front are really good, and I love just the overall, like the texture of it from front to back. That's a really nice bourbon. All right, so palate, which one do I like more? I think the oak has taken over this one a little bit more. I think one still has more of the overall sweetness. Yeah, I have to go with one. I don't know what one is, but one just took it. Both on nose and palate. Now finish-wise, I mean, there's little to no finish on the second one here. Again, I think the beauty of this one is all the mid palate, because that's where it turns really sweet. But there is pretty much no finish on it. It just goes off a cliff. Not even close. C has a little bit of a finish. Good, better. One, I realize I keep switching between numbers and letters. I realized that. Yeah, I think this is the clean sweep, is letter A. So B. No, B is really good. It's just a little bit, the finish just falls flat compared to these others. I don't know. These two are pretty close. I don't know. The only guess I may have is this last one possibly being the Knob Creek, because I'm starting to get like a peanut butter type thing going on in that last one. But I don't know. But I liked A the most. So, okay. Let's see what we get. Let's just work our way back. Obviously this is the winner. We'll find out what that is last. Let's see what glass D was. I guess it could be the Knob Creek, and that's exactly what it is. This is the Knob Creek 18. Based on what I tasted, this probably would be my second place. Well, the nose was pretty tame on this, but now it's getting like, it's turning to pure peanut butter for me. Especially compared to the other three. You can't go wrong with this bottle though. It's so good. I think in terms of my ranking, this would probably be my second place next to letter A. This is really good. It's a great value, especially you're thinking 160, 170 bucks for an 18-year-old Knob Creek. I mean, Jim Beam always has, for the most part, Jim Beam has really good pricing. All right, next one. This was probably the most disappointing, maybe? Not really much going on in this one. This is, all right. This is the Elijah Craig 18 in glass C. That's interesting. So it's coming down to the Michter's 10 now and the Remus Gatsby. Okay, all right, we're in it. All right, Elijah Craig 18. Again, these are pretty hit and miss for me. I think this single barrel is way better than the first one I got. But yeah, it did not impress in this, and maybe the proof hurt it a little bit, being only 90. Elijah Craig 18, I don't know. This might be kind of like my last place one. Let's see what this one was. No way. Oh, wow. Okay. So, Michter's 10, second. Or I don't know about second, but Michter's 10. All right, we'll get into this in a second. But my winner is the Remus friggin' Gatsby. Wow. Crazy. Now, the Remus Gatsby, when I reviewed it, I was like, I like it. I don't think I'd spend too much more. I wouldn't really spend the money on it. But this really maybe just opened up really good. This was a really nice bourbon. The nose is stellar. I actually got some spice on it. The Michter's 10 now, as much as I liked it, this is the 23, right? I don't make sure it's 23. Yes, 23. The Michter's 10 man, I think that finish really just compared to the others, when I drink Michter's 10 on its own, this year's, I actually get a nice finish. It's got a lot of good flavors, but man, you compare it to these others and the finish just goes right off a cliff. And I think that's where the Remus Gatsby shines. So in this blind quadruple bass, Remus Gatsby takes it for the title. That's, I don't know if it's surprising, but I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. Did that one kind of shock you? All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this quadruple bass episode as we put Remus Gatsby versus Knob Creek 18 versus Elijah Craig 18 versus Michter's 10 for 2023 with the Remus Gatsby crowned champion today. But before we go, as you know what we got to do, what should we call this one? Let's see. We have Michter's, we have Elijah Craig 18, Knob Creek 18, Gatsby. I don't know, since Gatsby won it, we'll just call it the J Gatsby. Just like we'll do like the old Leonardo DiCaprio, that meme, you know, where he says the cheers. We'll call it the J Gatsby blend. All right, let's see what we get. And while I'm trying this, guys, please sure to subscribe. Make sure you like the video before you get out of here. Leave a comment down below. Always great seeing you guys. So the nose is actually pretty fantastic. I mean, it's as good as an aged bourbon you're gonna get. Let's try it. I think it has potential. It's just a matter of the proportions. All right, the J Gatsby. Not too bad. Thanks for hanging out, guys. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. See you next time right here on The Mash and Drum. Take care, folks.